Breaking news, everyone. The Nelly song, Country Grammar. You might not recognize the song by the name of it because I had no idea that was the name of it. You might recognize it by the lyric, Shimmy, Shimmy, Cocoa Puff. Guess what, everyone? It's Shimmy, Shimmy, Cocoa what? I'm not asking you to finish the lyric. That is the end of the lyric. Shimmy, Shimmy, Cocoa what? Listen to it, pound. Light it up and take a puff. Pass it to me now. Holy shit, my mind is blown. I've been singing it wrong my whole life. I'm Chad Michael Innes, and we've got here Adam. Tell me about your thing you were talking about, rappers from the 90s or 2000s, Gumbert.
So 2 things really quick. Yeah, that I also did not. Here's the thing. I don't know a lot of lyrics. I just like mumble the words that sound, mouth sounds that are similar. So easy mistake. 2 things. First of all, next show, the Mountain Dew Game Fuel will be out in stores by the time we record again.
That's correct.
So I expect us to all get that. I hope they have a sugar-free version. That would be wonderful. I want to get that.
I will not be here next show, so we'll have to do that in 2 shows from now.
Will you not?
We'll talk about that after.
I was not aware. That's fine. But also, talking about music. So, I work with an older gentleman. He's great. His name's Hootie. His nickname's Hootie. He's a great guy. I love him to death. But he's an old man a little bit. And he was watching the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just to complain about who they put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Because apparently it's most of the time it's not rock and roller people because they're all old and dead now. But Missy Elliott was there and he kept calling her Missy Misdemeanor and refused to call her Missy Elliott. Because I mean, I don't remember because I'm not that old, but I guess that was her name originally before it was Missy Elliott. And he refused to call her Missy Elliott. He was like, "Oh yeah, they had Missy Misdemeanor up on the stage." I'm like, "It's not her name." Is that
Okay.
right? Is there any truth to that? Did you Google it like while I was talking?
No, I did not. Missy Misdemeanor. That sounds like it's okay, hold on. How did Missy Elliott get the nickname Misdemeanor? Missy also revealed that Magoo was the one who gave her the iconic Misdemeanor nickname. You supported me from day one, and you said, I'm going to call you Misdemeanor because it's a crime to have that many talents.
Interesting.
There you go. Who the
and
fuck
that's
is
all
Magoo?
funny because of, I don't know. That's just so funny because of all the thing about lyrics. When she says flip down, flip it, reverse it, whatever, it's just what she just said reversed. Like she actually just reversed it. And then that's what that part of the song is, which is also very cool. Anyways, I've talked enough. There's somebody else here, maybe. I don't know.
Magoo is a person, is like the whole person's, it's like Cher, but Magoo. And they're also dead. They died at the age of 50 whenever this article was written. Alex. Cozina.
Hey, I was hoping you would introduce me at some point. I've been looking through lists of prior video game of the year award winners from not just the Game Awards, but other monthly publications. I was thinking, because we don't have a ending show segment for this particular episode of the podcast, if I could do something involving them, and I wasn't able to think up something fast enough. But fun fact, Electronic Gaming Monthly, EGM, the magazine, is one of the oldest gaming publications to have done a yearly Game of the Year. Their 1988 Game of the Year, Double Dragon.
DD.
1989, Ghouls and Ghosts. I'll just list off a couple of these.
Okay.
1990, Strider. 1991,
that's a good
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, why would they do that?
Street Fighter 2. 1993, Samurai Showdown, which is the SNK fighting game. 94 was Donkey Kong Country. 95 was Twisted Metal.
Okay.
96 was Mario 64. 97 was GoldenEye 07. 98 was Ocarina of Time. And 99 was Soul Calibur, the original. And then from there, it kind of gets a little bit super obvious, but
EGM
was a little bit fun.
They were horny for fighting games, weren't they?
Right?
Yeah.
Also,
Lots
there
of
were
fighting
a
games.
lot of much better games that came out that decade.
Yeah.
Sonic. Get out of here.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Oh my God, barf. Speaking of barf, we just recorded a barf episode, which you can go and watch. It should be up on on-demand services if you're listening to this on demand as well. Speaking of barf, we have a little extra special holiday version of barf that's up right now. Alex has just ended. Adam's will be up as you are listening to this. So tell us what we are playing. Yes, Alex, you can.
I was going to say, can I talk about? Sorry, and I apologize for interrupting, but you gave me permission, so I suppose I shouldn't apologize.
Yep.
Can I talk about what the outcome was?
I will in just a second.
Sure.
So yes, you get go to patreon.com/respawnnamefire. Do that while you're there. There's a special post for patrons right now. Go there if you're a little extra special, little holiday something that we would like to physically send you. So do that before November 24th. I believe that is the Friday of Thanksgiving, or maybe it's Thanksgiving. I picked a date around the week of Thanksgiving. So go and send us your contact information if you would like to opt in for a free small token of our appreciation for being a patron over at patreon.com/respawnnamefire. Also, you can catch us every Sunday-ish on twitch.tv/affableidiots on Sunday evenings around 8:15 Eastern time is what I'm going to start saying from now on, because we're usually early. And then YouTube and podcast services on most Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern time as well. Getting back now to our barf games. So for the holiday quarter, 2/3 of the holiday quarter, November and December, rather than playing some backlog game from the past, years past, et cetera, there are plenty of games that came out this year that are on our backlog for Game of the Year consideration. So we put up polls in order to narrow those down to maybe the one that you would love to make sure that we finish each individually in anticipation of our Pody Goaty discussions. So my poll already went up and passed, and actually the Twitter version of it ended up tying the Patreon version of the poll between Alan Wake and Hi-Fi Rush. But here's the good news. All the frickin' praise going to Alan Wake 2. I'm gonna do both. I'll do Alan Wake 2 and Hi-Fi Rush.
Whoa.
I'll make sure that I finish both of those. So thank you for voting. And then Alex, you had some games up that have come to a conclusion now as well.
Yeah, things got really tied up over on Patreon. I asked you to vote between Chants of Sinar, Cocoon, System Shock, the remake that came out earlier this year, and A Space for the Unbound. And I thought for certain one of these games will kind of like take the lead. The vote was completely split evenly between the four of them. And ultimately, the Twitter poll ended up being the deciding factor. I will be playing Cocoon as my barf game for November and December.
Can you just watch the movie version? Is that different?
I mean, I'll probably watch it as well. That'll be my version of I'll watch both the movie and play both the games.
What if we do that for our RAF
games.
game show in December? As we just watch Cocoon together.
Watch Cocoon.
Oh, that's an idea.
Hey, funny thing. I was listening to guest of the show, Chris Waterman. He's been on before. He has a film podcast, Screen Quest. They just did The Thing. Wilford Brimley's in The Thing. I did not.
Yeah, he is.
I only thought he was in Cocoon in the diabetes commercials. I forgot he was in other stuff.
Do you think he got
he's
so
also
famous
in
from diabetes that he got his role in Cocoon?
That's how he got those roles. Yeah.
He's also in the Star Wars Ewok movie, the one with the
that's not
girl
canon.
and the magic potion.
Not canon.
So Adam's barf poll is going up here in probably just a couple hours from now. Adam, do you remember what the games were? I don't remember what the games are that you want.
I don't remember. Between. I'll pull it up as we speak. I know it was. I think I also had Cocoon, maybe, and then there was The Thing. By the way, I hate Patreon's new logo. Like, what is this?
Right?
Have you seen it?
Get out of here.
It's like the little squishy one.
Yeah,
actually, I don't see mine on here.
It's like a P. No, it's not up on Patreon yet.
Oh, okay. Continue to speak about how stupid Patreon's logo is, but we like their services.
It looks like if somebody took a pancake plop, like if they took a boomerang. You remember the Boomerang TV logo?
Yes, I do.
And then they tried to recreate that with pancake batter, but the pancake batter was too watery, and it kind of just like is bleeding out, and it just becomes this pea-esque blob.
Yeah, so my games, by the way, Sea of Stars, Dave the Diver, Alan Wake 2, and Armored Core 6.
Okay. Fuck, Armored Core 6. There are so many goddamn games. I sent you all the screenshot of like, hey, these are the 4 games I'm thinking of, and these are the other like 12 games below it that I also want to play that came out this year. It's wild. What's up, Amass Keaton in the chat? You're about to jump into our main quest. Update on Bungie, baby.
Whoa.
Coming from Taylor Lyles. Taylor Lyles, yes, at IGN. I just get so thrown off whenever everything. I'm just like, is it lowercase? Is it capital I? Is it IILs? I don't know. It's Taylor Lyles at IGN. So this is kind of a follow-up, adding a little bit more context to our discussion from last week. Following layoffs a few days ago, Bungie has published a statement about the difficult week the studio had. This is a quote from their statement. This has been one of the most difficult weeks in our studio's history as we've parted ways with people we respect and admire. This is addressing, though not explicitly calling out a number, but they're addressing the layoffs of around 100 employees. Continuing the quote, we've spent this week supporting one another, including those who are at the studio, as well as friends and colleagues who no longer are. In the blog post, they also acknowledged concerns and feedback players have shared regarding Destiny 2 and the mixed reception of Lightfall. With another quote here, we know we've lost a lot of your trust. Destiny needs to surprise and delight. We haven't done this enough, and that's going to change. Bungie CEO Pete Parsons also told employees that layoffs were due to Destiny 2's underperformance over the last year, as well as the lower than expected pre-orders for the Final Shape expansion. So, yeah, to be honest, this is they did this in place of, usually they have a Thursday, like weekly, this week in Destiny, we're going to talk about balance changes, come to skills and weapons, and like give a tease of what's coming in the next thing. Like they usually do that every week, and they just put up this blog post in place of it, which I was surprised they did, even though it is saying a lot of nothing basically in it. But they kind of acknowledged a little bit of it. I hope this is not their entire statement. Like I hope that we do hear more about justification for it and who was let go and why and what they plan to do. And of course their roadmap is, as things are delayed, what are they planning to put in place there? But this is what we got.
Chad, it just says to me that you weren't talking about Destiny enough.
I know, right? And I feel like this year in particular, I spent more money on fucking worthless Destiny event cards and silver to buy costumes and shit.
This is your punishment for paying people in like Singapore or wherever to beat the game for you.
I did do that.
This is your karmic punishment.
I feel like, what did I do that recently? I only did that twice. Once to do a thing, to run a Grandmaster on, or run a Nightfall on Grandmaster to get the Platinum Trophy. I don't regret that at all, although now I've run like 20 Grandmasters and I'm so good at them. But then the other thing was, I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Unofficially, some things that have come out of this too, a lot of this, Pete Parsons said it's about Destiny 2's underperformance over the last year. Apparently, the revenue targets they had were, they were 45% under their revenue targets for this year, despite still being in the top 20 games played across all platforms, not just Steam, but all platforms this year. So like they still have the player base there. Their revenue streams, their revenue projections, I guess, were just like so wildly reached for the stars that they fell short somehow.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So the last one that because people didn't like Lightfall a ton, but they still played it, obviously. People liked Witch Queen. What was the one before that people did not like a lot? What was the big expansion?
So there was, Beyond Light was the first like big one that people had issue with. Beyond Light came out 3-ish years ago, maybe.
Okay.
And the reason people had issue with that is that they vaulted a ton of content. Lots of planets, lots of campaigns, a bunch of weapons were then made basically unusable because they level capped them. And since then, they've started reintroducing some of these things back in ways that they're going to, like, they took away level capping on weapons and that kind of shit. And so the campaign was like generally, the campaign, especially the Strike, Deep Stone Crypt, people kind of liked, although looking back on it now, I was like, man, that campaign sucked compared to Witch Queen.
Yeah.
Witch Queen people loved. Lightfall, the campaign was meh, but it brought a lot of good quality life stuff.
So my question is, based off of that, do you think, I think it's more, because we get these stories every week, back then, was there talk of, oh man, our projections are lower, people aren't happy with the last expansion, they're not pre-ordered? Was there any of this talk back then?
I'll be honest, I wasn't paying as close attention back then. I do know that there was a ton of like fervor for the Witch Queen. Like people were super excited about it because, I mean, honestly, it's just the lore behind Savathun and the Witch Queen, and we've never seen any of these hive gods before aside from Oryx and that kind of stuff. But yeah, there was a lot of promise and a lot of hype around that, and also around Lightfall, honestly. And then Lightfall kind of fell flat too.
So my thing is that, again, I'm not a businessman, but I've been hearing,
Yeah.
again, I was listening to podcasts and shit all like that. So I'll credit to all those people who actually know what they're talking about. But basically what I've been hearing is that like debt was super cheap. So debt was cheap, and then COVID made people spend a lot of money. So even back then, if people didn't like that expansion, it was around the time where it was cheap to invest and do stuff and people were spending a lot of money. And then it's like companies didn't never change their projections, even though realistically they should have. And now there's just layoff after layoff after layoff. So like, I don't even know if you can try to blame it on like, oh, underperformance. I just feel like it's every company is like, well, we're going to keep making the same money we made 3 years ago when there was a pandemic and debt didn't cost anything. So we invested and it didn't cost us anything.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, now debt is not cheap and people aren't spending fucking $500 a month on electronic goods because they're stuck at home. And now everyone else is paying for it. And it's like, that's not our fault that you assumed that this would go on forever. You know?
I
But now people
definitely
get
think
fired
there's a
for it.
little bit of that. And I can't remember, maybe it was Paul Tassi over at Forbes. Somebody looked into like the revenue that they had made the past few years. And because people are like 45% under that, what were your fucking projections that you missed them by that much? But apparently based on, player count and that kind of stuff, it was not as wild as it might have seemed. Like it seemed to be in line with previous years. But I think you're right, Adam, with a little bit of that, like, yeah, people had more money to spend back then. Again, debt was cheap, that kind of stuff. And maybe they're just not anymore. But I think another thing to think about is like this game has a lot of people still playing it. Obviously, we can see from player count, but it also has a lot of competition this year. Like we just talked about the list of a dozen games that came out this year that I still haven't gotten to, even though I've played 15 other games that did come out. Like there's a lot of things for people to spend their money on this year that aren't Destiny. That I don't think it had a lot of competition with in prior years. And the fact that Destiny, like, if you bought Lightfall a year ago, technically you paid for all the content you needed right now, and you don't really miss out on anything until you have to buy the next expansion that comes out next year. So that maybe they were banking on getting those pre-orders and all that kind of shit, or banking on people buying cosmetics that like, they're like, listen, I'm not going to pay $10 to get this Fortnite cosmetic skin because I'm instead spending $50 that I didn't expect to spend on one of these other amazing AAA games that came out this year.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Hopefully we continue to hear more about this and definitively bring an end to it and find some kind of like great resolution that everyone's happy with and everyone gets hired back and the world is great. I doubt that's going to happen. But for now, we're going to move on to playtime, where we talk about what we played this week. We're going to start with Alex.
Yes. So, in terms of playtime, it's largely been a back and forth banter, as it were, between Lies of P and Mario Wonder. I completed Lies of P last week. I don't know why I did that little tongue thing. But no,
'Cause it's
maybe I'll
sexy.
insert it into more of my conversations.
Please do.
It is. And, that particular completion of the game was not one of my more glorious gaming moments because I had a real tough time trying to beat its super hard true final boss. And so I just decided, fuck it, I'll go with the bad ending of this game, forego beating the super true, super hard final boss, and just do the game another playthrough and get more of the trophies I missed first time around and beat the true final boss that time around. We'll say that New Game Plus playthrough of the game ended up being much harder towards the end than I was anticipating. At the beginning, you're very overpowered and are just melting through whatever enemy the game throws your way. By the end, like the difficulty really ramps up on New Game Plus to the point that I was really struggling. But in the end, I was able to just take victory and just clench it out of the gnarled claws of my opponent, and I was able to beat that true final boss on my New Game Plus playthrough. Now I just need to do one more playthrough of the game in which I exclusively tell the truth, and I will have the platinum trophy for the game. And so, yeah, that's pretty exciting. I will say I do have some thoughts to share on the DLC news announcement video that we'll be getting to later in the podcast, but I will save my thoughts until then. In terms of Super Mario Wonder, it's been interesting because I picked this game up a couple days ago, popped it into my Nintendo Switch, played a couple hours of it, and I stepped away from my Nintendo Switch, and I thought to myself, do I not like this game? And I gave it some thought. I played the game a little bit more, deliberated things hard and fast in my head, and I came to a conclusion that I've been stewing on for a while now, for definitely a couple of years, but I feel like I've only really been able to vocalize until this moment, which is if I attempt to play a platforming game in the most OCD way possible, attempting to collect everything, it immediately turns into work and it immediately becomes an excruciating experience. There are some people where, for them, being able to kind of like go through and meticulously 100% and tick off every box in their platforming game of choice is immensely pleasurable, and the kind of like true experience of playing those games for them. For me, I've discovered that it like actively hurts my experience playing these games. And so what I've tried to do with Mario Wonder is play each level once. If I really, really enjoyed that level and I'm like, oh man, I'm just jonesing to go back into it, I'll go back into it. Otherwise, if I don't feel 110% about that level, I'll just move on to the next. And that is how I've been playing the game so far, and has definitely done wonders for my impression of the game. No pun intended. That impression being that this is a really special Mario platforming game, and I am loving both the sheer creativity of its levels and just all the like small little quality of life improvements that this game has brought to the 2D Mario world, especially coming off of New Super Mario Bros. U. Just even small things like being able to bring like backup items into each level that you can kind of spawn at a moment's notice, how items that you might swap out of your character when you activate a new item get put back into like your inventory. There are just so many small little changes and differences that make all the difference in terms of my enjoyment of this game. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing to play more of it and complete it while trying my best not to fall into the trap of trying to complete everything, because I think that is not helping with my playthrough of the game. But otherwise, great game.
I'm right there with you in terms of the collecting of things, and I think that's part of why I'm enjoying it so much, is because I do enjoy the pace of it, moving from level to level so quickly. And I'm doing the same thing where it's like if I see that coin there and I can readily understand, or like I feel like I can figure out in 10, 15 seconds how to get it, I'll go for it. But if not, I know I'll come back to it at the very end of the game to unlock whatever it unlocks. But
this
what I also go for it.
I just want to say very quick, this is a crazy proposal. But part of me almost wonders, again, no pun intended, if this game would be better if it completely hid how many coins, like special, like big purple coins and wonder seeds, are hidden in each level of the game until after you beat the campaign. There are so many games that we've played where you are told in advance, well, there are this many coffee mugs and this many newspaper clippings in the entire game or whatever, but like it doesn't tell you how many you've missed on each level until you've beaten the entire game. And then it's like, all right, here's what you missed in each level. Now you can go back and chapter select that. I almost feel like I would enjoy this game more if the game wasn't actively telling me, oh, you missed this, and this in the level you just completed. But I know that's a radical idea that not a lot of people would love.
Interesting.
I might.
Before we move off of Mario Wonder real quick, I'll also throw out there that part of the pacing things that I love about this game is that it's not just a series of regular platforming Mario levels, but there are also there are very, very short levels called break times in there. So like I just got done doing 2 or 3 back-to-back long form levels, and there's like, oh, here's a single screen thing that's completable in like 15 seconds to get a wonder seed and do something cool. Or there's a badge challenge that's all about, all right, use your hat in a certain way to get to the end of this level and figure out some puzzles. Or there's kill all of the enemies as fast as you can. The faster you get to the end of the level, you get, more big coins. Like those types of differentiation in the levels really helps keep this game feeling fresh the entire playthrough as well.
I really like those as well, and I appreciate that they figured out a way to integrate those into the main campaign, because prior 2D Mario games like Super Mario Bros. U had a bunch of mini games of those ilk in like the you had to like exit out of the game and go into like the other like fun and game section of the game to access a lot of that stuff. And like I never bothered with it. And so it's cool that they figured out a way to, again, integrate that into the campaign, make it bite-sized, make it something that is like a fun, to your point, a fun palate cleanser in between completing some of the game's bigger levels.
Yeah. Adam, tell me about JBT.
JBT, you know me. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa, what? Whatever. I always remember this. No, so I did a couple of things. Today, I beat Jusant.
Oh, Just Nut.
Just Nut, as Chad likes to call it. I do. The game starts. Okay, by the way, so Jusant or Just Nut is the Don't Nod game where you climb up a very large structure, and the game's atmospheric little indie kind of looking game where you climb around. The game starts with Jusant, and it's a French naval term for when waters recede. I'm like, oh fuck, Alex would love this because it's talking about a French word at the beginning of the game.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure that's a French from France word, not a French from Quebec word.
It's all the same.
So it doesn't really count.
It means nothing to me. It's all the same. It's a different language. No, I got you. But no, the game starts out. You're just walking up. It's talking about. That's a French word for receding waters, and you're just walking through a desert, and it's atmospheric, so it's like, oh, there's boats everywhere and whatever, and you just start off at the bottom of this massive tower that like goes into the clouds. Not even a tower, just a natural structure, and you just start climbing up. The game's about 4.5 hours, I think, to beat total. I think like the platinum's like 7 or something. And I liked it. It was really fun. It reminded me, it's very specific. If you've ever played Grow Home or Grow Up, I think is the other one. It's that exactly, where it's just like, I'm doing a little puzzles a little here, getting a little collectibles, having little story moments where there's no dialogue or anything. You know, they're telling you what's going on, but it's very much like, go to this area, this biome looks different, this stuff is bioluminescent, this one is the arid, this one is my favorite one is there's one where it's just like, the sheer cliff face with grass on it, and then there's just wind that's going like 300 miles an hour, and you gotta climb around that. And the mechanics are awesome. It's like this hand, hold it, and you've got a little energy meter, and then you can like put a piton? It's like a real rock climbing thing where it's like you put it in, so if you fall, you just like hang from that position, but you don't fall all the way back down.
Like a little pickaxe type thing?
Yeah, I think they're called pitons or pitons, where you put it in and that's like your safe spot. No, it's very cool, very chill. Climbing's fun. Little platformer. Awesome time, especially for 4 hours. I was like, oh yeah, I could, because I looked it up on how long to beat, because I was on like chapter 3 or 4. I was like, how much longer? Oh, I got an hour? No problem. And the ending is very weird, but it's an indie feeling game, so I guess that makes sense. So I liked it. Just Nut. Everyone check it out. Everyone should just nut once in a while. And then Baldur's Gate 3. I'm in Act 3 now. I finally decided to move on and try to get close to the end of the game. God, good game. Fucking good game. Let me tell you guys. So there's 3 acts, obviously. I spent so my clock right now is 68 hours, and I just entered Act 3, but I'm also doing literally everything. But there's such a cool scene. I'm not gonna, again, everyone likes Baldur's Gate. Everyone knows it's cool. It's awesome, right? The scene I just had was fucking. This is perfect because Invincible just came back. J.K. Simmons is a bad guy. He's talking with the fucking vampire lady from Resident Evil Village. What's her name? Maggie, whatever, the really tall Lady Dimitrescu or whatever. A character played by her. And then a character played by fucking Lucius Malfoy. And they're all just 3 bad guys sitting in a room talking shit. I was like, oh man, this game's fucking good. It was awesome. So, now that game continues to be amazing. And everything matters, and it's great. It's wonderful. Baldur's Gate 3, keep playing it. And then the Thirsty Suitors is the last thing that I started.
Ooh, okay.
This also a cool little indie game. I got to the start screen, and then I was like, my son's here. Maybe I'll play this later. So I have not started Thirsty Suitors, but I have it installed and I pressed start on it. But yeah, Jusant and Baldur's Gate.
But you'll have sex with a bear in Baldur's Gate 3 in front of your son.
I'm not romancing Haslin, so I don't have anything to worry about.
Okay.
Yeah. I've already done that with Lysel. Don't worry about it, bud.
Congrats to D. Smitty in the Games in the chat, who just got his Platinum Trophy in Spider-Man 2 and asked, what should I play now?
Congratulations.
Try Just Nut, Smitty.
Smitty, Just Nut, maybe.
That or Cump Jump.
Just Nut, Cump Jump, Jizzy Bada Bones, all sorts of jism jokes. Or Mario Wonder. I know you have Mario Wonder. Play that with your kid. Actually, your kid should be in bed, but play it.
Wake him up.
So yes, I played Mario Wonder. I think I have 2 more Royal Seeds to get before I go to the Bowser Castle. And in a weird twist of fate, the Bowser Castle is actually Bowser has merged with a castle. And it's not just Bowser's castle in this game.
Bowser the castle. Gotcha.
Yeah. The other game I played, the only other game that I mostly played this week, and I played a lot of it this week, is the Finals. Played a lot of that with D-Smitty Games. And I think last time I talked about this on the podcast, we're just in the beta of it right now. Again, it's that 3v3v3, free to play, get some cash, put it in a thing, defend your cash box, kill people, etc., etc. Very fun, very polished from X-Dice developers. The last time I played, I was like, you know what? I've settled on playing the heavy and sledgehammering everything. And that was really fun. And I didn't really like the medium character, and I didn't even have any interest in playing the light character. And then we played with Matt, and Matt was like, I want to try the sledge. And I was like, all right, if he's going to do the sledge, I'll try something different. And I did the medium, and I was healing people. I was like, fuck, I really like healing people and being proactive and using the grenade or the sonar grenade to locate enemies and that kind of shit. I was like, oh man, I'm having a lot of fun with this. And then I unlocked a flamethrower, which is only on the heavy. I was like, fuck, now I'm going to the heavy and we're flamethrowing everything, and this is amazing. And then while I was the heavy doing a flamethrower, there were a bunch of tiny little guys that are like leprechaun size with little sabers, little swords that are just jumping all over the place, sticking me and killing me real fast with these sabers. I was like, fuck, I want to play with that. And I did that, and it's got a grapple, and it's really mobile, and I fucking love doing that. And so all of that's to say that I think I love everything about this game. It is so much fun, and I love playing as all the characters. They all have different strategies, and it's great. So I really hope this game launches and is fun to play and has a good, some kind of good monetization model that doesn't feel excessive or predatory or anything like that. But I'm just having a bunch of fun with it. And I think it is done now as of tonight. So today is the last day that it's playable in the beta.
I was about to say, because what if I had it downloaded and was waiting for you guys to want to play with me, but now it's over, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Yep. D-Smitty Games in the chat confirms it's a fucking blast.
Yeah, I wish you guys would play multiplayer games with me, but you won't. So
well, maybe you should play him and invite us to your party. Cump jump. The other 3 are not games. I just wanted to call out Gen V is excellent. It's finished this week. 100% go watch it. It's X-Men in the Boys universe, and it matters, and it's so good. The storytelling's so good. Those universes overlap, and it's fantastic. Go watch Gen V. Also, we talked the other day about the N64 analog 3D system and all that kind of stuff, and so now I have started rebuilding my N64 collection. So I have here now Diddy Kong Racing.
I'm gonna win.
And I have Zelda Majora's Mask Holographic Edition. Whoa.
So I have that cartridge as well, but my version of the cartridge had someone's initials written on it.
Mine had my friend's initials because I took his copy.
Oh, no.
So I'm looking for suggestions. Hit me up on Twitter on what N64 games I should be looking out for. I ordered a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time gold cart on eBay, but it got here and it was a lot more stretched than the photos made it seem, so I returned that shit. So I'm on the lookout for that. But
this is not a game I've ever played myself, but you know what? You should get Mischief Makers. I've heard good things about that game.
I'm not going to get something that I've never heard of. There have been 2.5 decades for people to tell me this game is good and worth playing or even hearing about.
You sure you
What's
don't
it
want to
called?
get Mischief Makers?
Mischief what?
Makers?
Mischief Makers, a plain old 70 on Metacritic, but
no. Look at
an
no.
anime
First of
girl
all, it
on
looks
the cover
anime
with
as
green
fuck.
hair.
She's got green hair, little skeleton head. Goddams. No, I'm not getting this game.
Why don't you get Vigilante 8?
Y'all have both been banned from this poll. Everyone else, go tell me what N64 games I should be looking for. And then finally, this is just something cool that I printed that I just want to show the world because I'm so excited about it. Look at this fucking Spider-Man helmet. Hold on, I gotta make sure that I'm holding it in the right spot. Look at this thing. Look at how sexy this is. It's got a little Venom coming and eating
Spider-Man
Spider-Man's head.
getting covered in spider gravy.
Oh, fully wearable. It's hot as shit in there, and I can't put it on with my headphones right now, but yeah, dude. Fucking 3D printing. It's the future. It's so cool. So cool.
That's
Fucking
cool
love
shit.
this thing. And it's all like, it's got like magnets that hold everything in place. So like, you just broke everything.
Oh shit.
No. But yeah, I dropped it on my keyboard, and hopefully that's not
Wait a
broken.
minute. If you just have the Venom pieces, you can do what they did in Spider-Man 3, where Topher Grace's Venom goes away, and it's just like the little tendrils like next to his mouth and over his head.
That's exactly
and you can
right.
see his face. You can do that. Yeah, you can do it.
Yep, I can do that. I'll clip this onto the back. Actually, I don't know if this is going to work with my headphones either.
Probably not.
No. But yeah.
But you
can-
see what I'm getting at.
Yeah, luckily I put a coat of poly to protect everything on this so that dropping it right now didn't fuck it all up. But yeah, I can put this on my head.
And be Topher
Be
Grace.
Topher Grace. What's up, y'all?
That's exactly what he sounded like in
I
the
also
movie.
kind of look like a sloppy dinosaur, like a sloppy T-Rex.
Sloppy
Like
T-Rex.
I'm melting. Sloppy steak T-Rex edition. All
I
right,
love it.
anyway. Yeah, so that's really cool. The eyeballs obviously just popped out because they're everything's held together in magnets too, which is kind of cool.
I like it.
So I can do this. Yeah, 3D printing. Pretty cool shit.
Real quick,
yeah.
before we go on, I finally did it. I completed the trilogy. I saw a
The
Haunting
Father,
in
the
Paris.
Son, and the Holy Ghost? Oh.
That's him. No, that's basically it.
You completed the trilogy, the Bible, the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Book of Mormon?
Yep, all of those. And that was the last Kenneth Branagh as Hercule Poirot movie, A Haunting in Venice.
Yeah.
They've made 3 of those films now. They're all fucking amazing. Let me tell you. I keep letting that big mustache keep solving crimes. I'll keep showing up and watching it.
A Haunting in
I'm here
Venice
for it.
now available to stream on Max. Fun for
it's
the whole
on Hulu.
family.
Yeah, I watched it on Hulu. So yeah. That's why I watched it. I was like, oh yeah, let's go.
Woo! All right, that is it for playtime. We're going to move on now to our 2 things in the quest log, and then maybe a cozy thing, and we're wrapping up for the day. We got a short-ish
No
one.
cozy thing. Well, there will
No
be
cozy
the
thing. Okay.
question of the week. There will be the question of
There'll
the
be a
week. We'll get
cozy
to that.
question of the week. But first, we're going to get our P organs ready, baby. This is Wesley
Oh,
Yinpool
yeah.
at IGN. So Alex earlier was lamenting that the game is too hard. He's so bad at it. It sucks, blah, 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 blah. But then he conquered it, and now it's good. Turns out Liza P. publisher Neowitz has announced a new game update, teased the game's first DLC, and confirmed plans to release a sequel. The upcoming patch expected this month, which is set to bring significant changes to weapon and character balance, as well as quality of life changes to ease the difficulty in early stages of the game. As part of this, players will get the Rising Dodge ability as a default skill instead of needing to unlock it. So things might be balanced in a way that could have made this easier for you your first playthrough, Alex, but now I get to take advantage of that patch instead as I continue the game. In a director's letter video, the game director Ji-won Choi showed off 2 sketches that tease a small portion of content that will be available in the first DLC. More information as well as patch notes will be available soon. And finally, in the video, Choi confirmed plans for the Lies of P sequel, saying, "Our highest priority is developing the DLC and working on our sequel. The dev team is putting in significant effort, brainstorming and exploring different aspects of the projects."
So, in terms of them adjusting the difficulty of the game during the early stages, I welcome it, although I will say those early stages of the game were definitely some of the easiest, which I mean is how it's supposed to work. Things are only supposed to get harder as you progress further on. I can't talk seriously about Lies of P if you do that, Chad.
If I hold them like this, it looks like I'm angry. Or it kind of just looks like I'm a bug.
You're Wolverine if you put them slanted.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
true.
bub. I'm going to smoke a cigar, bub.
Bub. But anyways, I welcome those changes all the same. It will be, if I manage to platinum the game before this patch comes out later this month, it will definitely be a badge of honor that I platinum the game before they made it easy for the babbies out there. Just kidding.
Oh my god,
Babbies.
he's turned into a real Souls player. Oh
Yeah, he has,
they nerfed it.
Get good, everybody.
In terms of the DLC, am I allowed to go into very minor Lies of P spoilers?
If I get... I'm going to finish this game this year. If I get spoiled on something, I'm going to poke you in the belly with a sword.
Here's the thing. It's a spoiler about something that is referenced to in the game, but you don't actually get to see or explore.
Okay.
Do you still not want to be spoiled?
Okay. Go on.
I can do it? All right.
Yeah. We're giving
30
warning to
seconds for
everyone.
everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very minor Lies of P spoilers follow. You collect many like different notes and pieces of parchment throughout the game that allude to events that have happened or will happen. There is a single piece of parchment in the game that you collect that alludes to there being ancient ruins beneath the city of Krat, and alludes to there being some sort of bizarre thing that is growing beneath the ruins, and they speculate, is this some sort of defense mechanism of the ruins? And I suspected when I picked up that particular note, oh, this is where we're going to in the end game, because this was like 2/3 of the way through the game, is not referenced or brought up again, other than people vaguely alluding to Krat having like, you know, a lot of secrets beneath its surface and whatnot. And so my assumption is this DLC will probably have to do with these ruins, but I truly don't know, having seen the screenshots that he shared, but still pretty exciting there. Okay. I will say, as excited as I am for Lies of P's upcoming DLC, the sequel, if they're going to go full bore into what they teased in the post-credit scene for this game, is going to be absolutely crazy. And I am so looking forward to it. And I am so looking forward to when you guys also beat this game, because I so desperately want to talk about it on one of these podcasts.
All right.
By the way,
that's all I'll say.
Chad, he said full boar and you did a bull.
Yeah.
A boar would have tusk.
That's what I did with my lips, idiot.
But then you did this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also got ears and hair on its head.
You're right, you're right.
And also, I can't represent every hair on its head. I only have 10 fingers.
You only did the 2 hairs on its head. I got you. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Alex, that'll be interesting to see if they do the post-credit scene and make that the sequel, because that is an interesting move.
Have you beat this thing, or did you just spoil yourself on it?
No, I just know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, so everyone shut the hell up.
I'm not saying nothing.
Okay. I do know what that final choice is that you have to make to get the bad ending or the good ending, but I don't know. I want to know anything else about it.
The final choice is like completely unrelated to what is shown off in the post-credit scene.
Cool.
It has something to do with a mature student.
Okay, mature student. Love it. It's Angela.
That's
again.
actually not. It's actually not very accurate. I would say it's actually the reverse of that.
Too much. New Like a Dragon took how long to make, says Tom Ivan at VGC. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, took just 6 months to develop, according to Ryuga Gotoku studio director Masayoshi Yokoyama, excuse me. In an interview with Automaton, he also said the studio once considered teasing or releasing it as DLC before deciding to flesh it out into its own game. Here's a quote. There is a huge difference between Like a Dragon Gaiden and Like a Dragon 8. By this, I mean, in a sense, Like a Dragon Gaiden was derived from Like a Dragon 8. We could have just told of Kiryu's past through a 30-minute interlude as a part of Like a Dragon 8, but we decided it would be a lot more interesting as a game of its own, which is how the project came to be. Though this meant having a whole extra game to make, it still uses the same engine, so we thought it's not like we have to start from scratch, and decided to go with it. In the end, it took us about half a year to make it. Whew, felt like that was a minefield trying to trip me up with all these names.
So many like proper nouns and all that things that you don't play. I do think it's cool. I think we should get this more often, right? Especially talking about, all the layoffs and how much games and shit cost to make. Again, I don't care about Like a Dragon, so this isn't a thing for me. But if it was a thing that I liked, or like, hey, how about, between our big releases, we give you something in the middle, like a half experience or whatever. Like, that would be cool if it was things that I cared about. I would enjoy that very much. So
in the Barf episode that we just did on Little Hope, I talked about how, like, if you're somebody who really likes that kind of horror experience, you must be in heaven right now, having so many of them to play. And I'd imagine it must be the same with the Yakuza, where like you have so many of these games to choose from, and so many of them that are also readily available on modern platforms.
Yeah. I also really enjoy the fact that they are like, let's be smart about our resources. Like, we can make a brand new experience using the same engine, using a lot of the things that we've already built. Like, fucking, yeah, go for it. We don't have to make AAA games cost a bajillion dollars. It's unsustainable. So, cool. If it took you half a year to make it and you were able to do so efficiently and effectively, and you still feel like there's a value in that product to sell it at whatever price you're going to sell it at, and your customers agree, that's frickin' capitalism, baby, in a way that is good for the people. All right, That's it. That's all of our news stories. We do not have a segment from Adam this week, and we do not have a Game on Game show, but we do have a Kozi's question of the week. Week.
Guys, I'd like you to choose a number between 1 and 3.
Integers only?
This again?
Yes. So 1, 2, or 3.
Okay. Well, 2 is directly between 1 and 3, so I'll choose 2.
3.
Adam went with 3, and Chad went with 2. You know what? We'll do both 2 and 3, considering we don't have any other segments to go off of. So these are, of course, questions I submitted to Kind of Funny's various podcasts that I don't know yet whether they will or will not get read on those shows. Question number 2. You are given a fresh bottle of PIM particles with the explicit instruction that you can only use them to enlarge a bird and then fly around on said bird thereafter as your main means of travel. What bird are you enlarging and making your travel buddy?
Eagle going straight to Mount Doom, throwing the ring in from the beginning. No question.
Well, so you're also traveling into the world of Lord of the Rings.
Well, absolutely.
In addition to
of
the
course.
big bird.
Of course.
Okay.
Thanks to Quantumania, anything's possible now.
That's true. So I do like how Chad was like, what is already the most like dangerous like bird of prey that is alive? Let's make it even bigger. Like eagle could already kill a human being, you know? Let's make it
but a regular ass eagle can't carry a Gandalf.
I mean, true.
Yeah.
They do carry goats. Have you seen the videos of them picking up goats and dropping them? Yeah. Eagles
I've seen a
pick up
video of
goats and
them
drop them to kill
spiraling
them.
to their death as they fuck.
Well, I've seen that too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just do something that's not crazy. So whoever's inside of that Big Bird costume from Sesame Street, about to get even bigger, buddy. I'm gonna ride Big Bird around because I can
love
trust
that
it.
idea.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna. It can't fly, obviously, but I can just sit on top. And that man is now fucking 20 feet tall inside of a costume. But I'm getting to the grocery store a lot quicker. And it's not. I'm not scared. I'm not scared.
Do you remember that movie, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The baby is now enormous, and it takes a fucking guitar off the Hard Rock Hotel. Like, can you imagine if that was Big Bird? Although it would, you know what it would be? That's the finale of fucking, what's the Oscar Isaac Marvel show? Moon Knight.
Moon Knight?
Yeah.
He used to fight Big Bird?
Yeah, remember, there's the big death looking bird.
I forgot
and they
that
fight
show ended with
Godzilla
the
style.
stupid fucking kaiju fight.
Stupid kaiju fight, yeah.
Good lord.
On my end, I think what I would do is I would enlarge in a Blue Jay, because then what I can do is I can fly over to the Toronto Blue Jays, the baseball team, and be like, hey, I got your new mascot, and they would have to pay me all sorts of royalties, and so I'd get to collect money in addition to having a flying servant.
The problem with this question is when you enlarge this animal, it is still a wild animal, just much larger.
We don't know
now.
how to control where it goes or how to talk to it.
I was going to do parrot just because I like parrots, but then you think about like a parrot's beak, like that would just tear people in half if the thing decided to start pecking at people.
Well, see, my thinking is like in the Ant-Man movies, when the ants like grow and become big, they like, you know, they're playing like the drum sets, they're like eating food off the table, like they kind of become docile and aren't really like interested in like fucking people up. And so I assume that it's a similar thing with birds where you make birds bigger and they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to be chill out now.
I think it's part of Ant-Man's power is that he can speak to ants specifically.
There's something that we haven't considered in here, and it's the fact that these things have to eat proportionally to their size. So if they were eating a worm maybe 3 times a day as a regular bird size, and now suddenly they're the size of a building, they have to eat 3 building-sized worms a day. And if they don't, they're just going to fucking starve to death and die. And we're just going to have a dead giant bird in the middle of your home or on the field of the Toronto Blue Jays or somewhere between here and the Mount Doom.
Yeah,
well,
I
mean,
say,
that's what the Toronto Blue Jays money is for. We get them the money so we can feed it.
There you go. McQualude in the chat says duck for sure. It flies and floats. Calm demeanor. Not awful. They're all very scary issues, but I think a duck is chill.
It might die. There's like a 50-50 chance it's going to die in a lake or in a pond, and then it just sinks, and we don't have to worry about its body.
Yeah. Nature
you know what?
Takes
Duck
care of
is
the rest.
actually duck is actually a really good one because it flies, it floats, it can swim a little bit. Also, if the duck dies, like that's a bird that we know tastes good dead. So
that's true.
You have that.
Can you imagine if the bird that size also like the volume of its song is amplified or its quack is amplified. Like, if we accidentally did some bird that has this obnoxious morning song, and like if we did a fucking rooster, we would blow out everyone's eardrums in a 3-mile radius. It's wild.
I love it. Very good question.
All sorts of interesting implications, and thank you. Question number 3. What food will you never, ever, under no circumstances, ever try again?
Cottage cheese. Never tried it, never will. Looks gross.
But you've never had it before.
So you can't try it again. If
I will never have it again.
That's not the question.
I will choose again to never have it.
I'm not going to take it from you, but I did have cottage cheese once as a kid and was like, no, thank you, and never had it again.
Yeah.
But that was
I've
here's
had cottage
one.
cheese in recent times, and I will say very quickly, cottage cheese better than you remember.
I doubt that.
Here's one. Brown gravy.
Oh, I love it.
Really?
My whole life, I have never eaten white gravy on like biscuits or anything like that, and I had not eaten white gravy, had not eaten brown gravy because it looks like jizz and diarrhea, respectively. And I'm like, I don't want to eat that. As a 25-year-old person, I finally tried white gravy and biscuits, and it was fantastic and delicious. But I did not eat it again since. But I said it was good. And then I tried brown gravy on potatoes, and I was like, this tastes pretty good, but also this is not the taste that I want when I want potatoes, or what you would traditionally put. Like it's not the taste that I want in that texture, in that form, on whatever it goes on. So, not a fan. I don't want to eat diarrhea that might taste a little bit good in the wrong circumstances.
If you traveled up to Montreal and I presented before you a big steaming plate of poutine, would you refuse to eat it because it has brown gravy on it?
I would refuse to eat it. I can order poutine with just the curds on it. No gravy.
See, it's opposite for me. I don't like curds, but I do like gravy.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to be a pie. I don't like gravy.
I don't like
Chicken run.
I'm cheating a little bit. I'm
Okay.
cheating a little bit for this answer, but I will say there's this website that I frequent pretty often called MTL
Pornhub.
Blog.
Okay.
It's called MTL Blog. Very close. And basically, it's like a Montreal-centric news site that talks about things and events happening in the city of Montreal, and it has a particular focus on like eats and restaurants that you can eat out of Montreal. There's this one pizza place that I see get recommended all the time on MTL Blog called Pizza Chez Danny, spelled Chez Danny, Dany. And it's like, yeah, Pizza Chez Danny. It's like not the best pizza in the world, but they're open really late. If you ever are drunk from a late night of karaokeing or doing whatever, it's like the best pizza. Just grab a slice and just chow down. And so I read that and I'm like, I mean, fuck, I feel like I need to try it. I'm not going to do it drunk because I want to have as like, you know, clear of an opinion of this when I chow down on it. But like, I expect that I'm still going to thoroughly enjoy it. Like a big, greasy like pizza, you know, fast food, like count me in, especially if it's pizza. Terrible, like absolutely terrible, to the point where I'm like, I could be as drunk as possible and I would refuse to eat this if I knew in advance how bad this was going to be. So Montreal Blog, stop promoting Pizza Chez Danny. It's not good.
Alex, I feel like maybe we should also have a segment every week called Alex Explains Canada to Us. First of all,
Sure.
we know that you are still in servitude to the UK somehow. But also,
It's not exactly. But
can you
sure.
explain Canadian websites? Like why and when do I use .ca instead of .com? Because mtlblog.ca goes nowhere, but mtlblog.com goes to where you want it to be. But if I go to amazon.com in Canada, your computer blows up. But if you go to amazon.ca, that brings you to Canadian Amazon. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, my assumption is like it's kind of a coin flip, but also like the Amazon example is actually a really good example of this, where Amazon is an international site and it distinguishes between all its different international versions with the little .ca or .com or .nz or .whatever at the end there. So I would say like on average, you're using .ca when it is like here's like the Canada specific version of something. But again, there are definitely situations where that's not true. So you can disregard everything I said.
Yeah, I'm glad this MTL blog does not have a Canada-specific version, a blog about Montreal, Canada.
Well, I'm going to now see if mtlblog.number1 exists to see if there's a United States version of this.
Because we're number one. I
Nope.
got you.
Nope.
Cozy, for my answer, I was waffling between things. Not waffles. I actually love waffles. I actually went to your mtlblog.com. I love how this is a blog about Montreal. One of the top stories is cocaine use in each Canadian province was ranked. Here's where Montreal stands. I love that. But right above that is a thing about Tim Hortons. And that reminds me when I went to Seattle for PAX West, Seattle, a very big coffee thing. And I went to have a meeting with someone. I was like, I'm just get me. I asked for, I can't remember what it was specifically. I think it was a cold brew coffee. Because I've had iced coffee before, but they did not have that choice. So cold brew, I guess, is they just make the coffee cold and then pour it over milk. Or, I don't know what it was. Nasty. Don't ever want to have a cold brew again.
Wow.
I'll put that on my list. I'm not a huge coffee person anyways. But then having to go to a fancy place and really give them a real order, I was like, I guess cold brew. It sounds like iced coffee. No, it is not. No, thank you.
I'll add that.
Never
I'll
again.
add that to my list. Anything coffee flavored. I have tried coffee. I have tried a latte. I have tried tiramisu. I have tried a mocha something.
Well, I like
I have tried
tiramisu.
coffee flavored ice cream. I have tried anything coffee flavored, and everyone's like, "Oh, you just gotta try the right one." Or try this. It doesn't even taste like coffee. Fuck all of you. It does, and I'm done trying coffee shit. It's all gross.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
Good question.
Also, real quick before we wrap this up, the Tim Hortons article that you were referring to is called Tim Hortons announced new Bailey's flavored menu items. Get ready for rich and creamy mornings. And I want to thank you for bringing my attention to that because I will definitely pick those up when they arrive.
All right,
live
take pics
every-
of your creamy mornings and let us know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kozi, for
right.
filling this up with content in the absence of our prepared content with Kozi's questions of the week. That's it for episode 330 of Respawn Aim Fire, and that is it for life. Goodbye, everybody. Kiss your loved ones. Remember, there is some very time-sensitive Patreon-focused things going on. And if you're not a patron, there's also something for you to do. One, by the end of this week, we will now know all three of our BARF games for November and December. Remember, they are GOTY focused. Game of the Year potential candidates. Pody GOTYs. So Adam's poll will be going up very shortly. Make sure you go up there, tell us what game you want him to play in consideration for Game of the Year discussions. Also, patrons, in the next 2 weeks, maybe it's 3 weeks, in the next weeks, go to Patreon. There's a special little holiday surprise thing that starts with action needed in all caps. Go there, fill out that little form if you would like some kind of little fun holiday thing from Respawn Aim Fire. We would gladly send you one. Thank you for your support, etc., etc. While you are there, patrons have access to, let me double check and see if it is done uploading. Patrons will have access any moment to a new game show, RAF game shows, based on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, called Locked and Loaded, starring me, Adam, Alex, our friend Dave, who's in the chat right now, is McQualude, and Chris Waterman, who also came up earlier on this episode. All of us are playing this Locked and Loaded game show. It is very tough, very tense, surprisingly tense, and we had some wild, fun things happening on that show, so definitely go check that out.
I know that I often say these when we debut a new one of these game show episodes, but this might be one of my favorite ones so far.
Yeah.
I think
Raises
you will
the bar
be
again.
impressed with the quality of visuals, with the quality of the effects, and the quality of competition and cooperation that is present within the show. And
Love
so I
it.
encourage you to go check it out.
If you are not a patron and you hate us, you have still free access to the previous RAF game show, which we did in September, with the Comedy Button and JK Games guests on there was Anthony Gallegos, Ryan Scott.
Anthony Galengos.
Anthony Galengos. Ryan, is Scott his last name? Ryan Scott?
Ryan Scott.
That Ryan Scott from the Comedy Button and Jerica Hanna from JK Games Podcast. They join us for another version of Rafferty. That was, again, another great one we did in September. Check that out for free now for everyone over on Patreon or youtube.com/@respawnnameFire. That is available for you, as well as on podcast services. And that's it. That's all. Oh, go listen to our Barf episode. We just recorded it like an hour ago. It's going to go up soon. That's available. No Pope, Little Hope. Yeah. Alex, thanks so much for coming today and filling our podcast with content. Where can folks find you if they want to look at pictures of your creamy mornings?
They can find my creamy mornings over on twitter.com/AlexKozina, AlexKozina.
Adam, where can folks find out about your creamy mornings?
Well, go to Xtube. Wait, what are those? Pornhub.com,
Xtube
whatever.
is one of them.
I don't know. Is it? It might not be.
It is. It is.
No, on it is website starts with an X. Go to x.com/Adam Gumby. Twitter, Adam Gumby. You'll find me talking about my boy Kenneth Branagh, that big mustache, solving crimes. I love it.
Yeah.
Also, my pictures from me going to the Colts game and being on the field. I never mentioned on the show, but
dope.
I did that.
Yeah, I hearted a bunch of those pictures, and I was like, I didn't know they had live role play Madden NFL. Like that's so cool.
Right. That's right. Very bad jokes from Chad. That's right.
Yeah, it was excellent. If you want to see more of my great jokes on Twitter, go there at Chad Mike Innes on all the things. Until next time, thank you everyone so much for listening. Here's our usual sign off. Creamy, creamy mornings.